conquering every continent but Antarctica, snakes have found a way to get by in just about every habitat imaginable. They're masterful climbers, impressive swimmers, and some are even armed with among the most potent toxins of any animal on Earth. But among them all, only one group gets to be called the king, and today, we're gonna show you why. North America is home to a lot of snakes, but none are as well known or as feared as vipers. Rattlesnakes and cottonmouths are icons for a reason. Just the sound of their unmistakable rattle or the flash of that gaping white mouth is enough to make just about any animal on the continent think twice about messing with them. But what if I told you that there was a snake out there who didn't just see a rattle as an opportunity, but as a bona fide dinner bell? Today, we're going to track down the snake that all vipers fear, the Kingsnake, and show you the insane ways that they've earned the name king. My name is Harrison, and this is Evan. We're twin brothers on a mission to help you become an insider in the natural world by showing you the stories of how the most unbelievable things in nature actually work. We've wanted to dive deeper into the story of kingsnakes for a while now, because these guys have some predatory abilities that would make any superhero proud. So we've come to southern Louisiana in hopes of getting up close with a king. This is the home of the speckled kingsnake, one of the largest species in the country, but one that we have never found before. To pull this off, we've met up with our good friend and local wildlife expert Zachary Gray, who knows these snakes better than pretty much anyone else we know, and he's taking us to some of his best spots to find them. Speckled kings spend a lot of time in wetlands, so we're hiking a nice stand of forested swamp habitat, flipping cover and hoping to spot one on the crawl. This area is a hot spot for reptiles, but before we found any kings, Evan and I both spotted snakes darting into the water, and there wasn't time to do anything else but go for them.
Go, 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 go.
Got him. Let's go!
Woo!
Yep, fasciata. What's up, dude?
Come here, buddy.
Woohoo! There we go. You can't script that. Nope, literally.
I was gonna say, everyone's gonna think that was fake, y'all know, right?
Literally. They're non-venomous, nothing to worry about.
But wanted to show off some of the coolest little snakes we get around here. Little bit of those clear bands coming through, and you can see the belly is absolutely unmistakable for these snakes. But we're using a lot of different visual cues. It's not just one thing, and that's how we knew that these guys were okay to catch. Now we're super happy to see these little water snakes out here because at this size, they actually do have some predators to contend with. You saw how defensive they were when we picked them up, and actually, the animal we're looking for is one of the reasons why.
Exactly. Now, we've seen a few others that we haven't been able to grab before we got these two, so it's a good sign for us to see lots of snakes moving around through this habitat. I think we'll get them right back into the swamp and continue our search, but that is a really fun double catch. Can't make this stuff up, guys.
As if catching two at once wasn't enough to show how abundant water snakes are out here, Zach caught another one literally as we were releasing the other two.
Not gonna let me in on the fun? Good grief. Alright, come on. Can't Zachary catch a broadband or two?
Their abundance is really a testament to how successful water snakes are, since they can survive in many different habitats and take a wide variety of prey. But even as generalist predators, there's a limit to what a water snake can eat, and that really comes down to how they hunt. Since water snakes don't have venom and they don't constrict their prey, basically their only option to get a meal is to latch onto prey with their sharp, curved teeth and hold it down until they can overpower and swallow it. This means that they can really only eat things that are much smaller than themselves, roughly the size of their head, which is pretty typical for non-venomous snakes. Things are different for kingsnakes though, but to show you why, we'll have to find one first. Zach took us to a new spot that he knew was good for snakes, but despite the foreshadowing from the water snakes earlier, we never could have predicted what we found under a promising piece of tin.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, double speckled king! Holy cow!
Woo!
There's a lifer for both of us.
Gems, man.
A really nice, healthy speckled kings.
Good dude. Hey, I got one for each of you, right?
Yeah, right?
These guys are incredible. They really are. These are speckled kingsnakes, actually a different species of kingsnake from the one we filmed before, the eastern king. Now these snakes are incredible active predators. They'll be out during the day hunting, and they actually have really impressive vision and smell. Those are two of the primary tools that they're using to track down their food out here. Absolutely, and they eat all kinds of stuff. They're really generalist carnivores. They'll eat lots of small mammals like rodents, birds, and even bird eggs, and also reptiles, and they are really impressive predators. One of their best hunting tools is actually their strength. Yeah, these are non-venomous snakes. That's true. So they're not relying on any sort of venom to take down the food that they're eating. But what you are looking at is actually the strongest snake in the entire world. Now, how can we say that when there's stuff like this out there? That's a great question. Proportional to their body size, these guys have the strongest muscles of any snake in the world, and you can feel it when you're working with them. These guys are rock solid muscle, and these snakes use the strength we've been talking about for something very particular. These guys are constrictors, non-venomous, but they will basically overpower their prey, squeeze it as tight as they can, and cut off the blood supply to the brain. Takes care of them really fast. Just look at the strength on this snake, holding his whole body out, and trust me, what Evan said earlier is true. It's all muscle. And the reason for that is because of a very particular food source that is one of the mainstays of the kingsnake's diet. There's almost a hint in their name, kingsnakes, the king of snakes, because these guys are ophiophagus. They're snake eaters.
Catching snakes is hard enough for a predator with no limbs, but to really understand why kingsnakes need the strongest constriction force on Earth, you need to understand why reptiles are so good at resisting this hunting method. It's a common misconception that constriction squeezes the air out of a prey item's lungs. That actually takes way longer than you'd think, even for a small animal. Constriction is all about restricting blood flow, and prey dies when their brain doesn't get enough oxygen to function. The thing is, reptiles are surprisingly good at operating with low oxygen levels, because their metabolic rate is much lower and less intensive than it is in mammals or birds, which have to regulate their own body temperature internally and have much faster metabolisms. Snakes have a number of adaptations that make them particularly good at surviving oxygen deprivation, and their thin, uniform shape makes them a challenge to get purchase on for constriction. Because of this, kingsnakes need to exert immense amounts of pressure to take them down, and the way they achieve it is fascinating. There are many ways that constrictors use this iconic hunting style. Boas throw multiple coils around the whole body of their catch, while rat snakes wrap uneven coils around specific areas to target weak points of their prey, like the neck or joints. Kingsnake constriction is even more refined though, as they wrap their body tightly around their prey in a single even coil that looks like a spring. This position maximizes the amount of their body that's in contact with their catch, and aligns their muscles in exactly the right way to produce the highest crushing force possible. Once they lock onto a snake, kingsnakes may need to constrict for hours at a time to finally take it out. So a combination of proper technique and incredible endurance is required to use this insane hunting method.
Now, this is the thing that really blows my mind about these kingsnakes. They're not just eating other non-venomous snakes like them. They will take down venomous species as well. They'll eat cottonmouths, they'll take down rattlesnakes, and to help them do that, they have one of the craziest adaptations of any snake I know of. Basically a superpower. They are resistant to the venom of venomous snakes, so they can tank a bite from a copperhead, a cottonmouth, even a rattlesnake, and get away just fine.
They'll probably take it down and eat it.
Exactly, they'll just continue eating.
But how is that even possible? The secret to this insane ability actually lies in the kingsnake's blood, which is full of specialized enzymes that neutralize the venom. These enzymes work by binding to the venom when it enters the snake's blood, which prevents it from attaching to their cells and affecting the body. Now, it's worth noting that kingsnakes aren't fully immune to the venom, they're just able to tolerate it. But a large enough dose of venom could potentially overwhelm their enzymes and harm the snake. Their resistance isn't universal either. Kingsnakes only evolved to deal with the venom of certain species that they encounter frequently, particularly the hemotoxins of vipers like rattlesnakes, copperheads, and cottonmouths. humans. But this adaptation doesn't really work against snakes with different types of venom, like the neurotoxins of coral snakes. So even though their venom resistance is powerful, they still need to be careful when they're taking down venomous prey.
That, to me, is absolutely insane that they can tank a bite from a venomous snake and just go about their day. I kind of wish we had that superpower. It would make it easier walking around out here. But that is actually why this is a great snake for people to have around. They're actually an animal that doesn't tend to get as persecuted as many of the other species if people know what they are, because what they're doing is they're keeping the populations of snakes that people really don't want around in good balance. Exactly. So if you don't like snakes generally, these guys are kind of your best friend, because they're going to take care of pretty much everything else out in the environment where they're living. So they are a good thing to have around, even if you do see one on your property. This is not something you need to fear. Like we said, totally non-venomous if they were to bite. These guys are super placid, so I'm not even worried about that. But for the most part, this is a pretty easy to identify snake. As Evan said, the bite is completely harmless. They're quite uninclined to use it. So this is an animal that is really a great sign for the ecosystem and a great sign for you, whether you like snakes or not.
The importance of king snakes goes far deeper than just their benefit to humans, though. Their ability to eat venomous snakes regularly means that they're serving an ecological role that few other species can. Because with the exception of a couple very bold birds of prey, few predators can actually regulate the populations of venomous snakes in any meaningful way. Also, like most snakes in North America, king snakes occupy a middle position in the food web and have a number of predators. So they are very important to their ecosystems due to their role as both hunters and prey. Unfortunately though, while they're usually spared the wrath of people who kill snakes out of fear, that does not mean that they're not facing some pretty serious challenges.
Now, we had to let Zach come out from behind the camera, but one thing we want to talk about with these guys is that generally their population is doing pretty well. They are least concern, as classed by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, the IUCN. So overall, their population is doing well, but it's really their habitat that's in trouble, right, Zach?
Yeah, a lot of sections get cleared for housing, and they do tend to hold on in those places as well, but the best places for king snakes to live is going to be in grassy, open environments. They're going to be living in tall grasses where there's a lot of mice. You can find them in hardwood bottoms, but really what we're seeing is they'll just vanish from super urban areas, not for any particular reason other than just simple habitat loss. King snakes overall doing well. They're a very secretive snake, but you want to keep good habitat around. Good hardwood bottoms, palmettos, good grasslands, and just good sections with a lot of native species that support more biodiversity, which is going to include your speckled kings.
Exactly. If you care about snakes and you want to see them doing well, you have to care about the habitat and protect it, because that is the best thing we can do to make sure that these guys persist into the future. They've been super cooperative. We're super stoked to get 2 of them in hand at the same time.
That was pretty killer.
We're gonna get these guys right back under their board, where they belong. This was an incredible encounter.
With all of the incredible snakes that exist in North America, earning the nickname of king is no easy feat. But with their unmatched strength and ability to stand up to many highly venomous species, king snakes truly live up to their name. It's crazy to think that they make meals out of some of the country's most feared snakes, but when there are no king snakes around to deal with them, some of their prey can come into conflict with people. There's arguably no better example of this than the copperhead, the species responsible for more venomous snake bites than any other in the US. But is this really a snake you need to fear? If you want to find out, check out this video, where we show you the truth about the infamous copperhead. And with that, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.